recording and set it up to where you can unmute yourself. 1 second here. And why don't we go ahead and you can unmute yourself. Why don't you go ahead and say hello, let us know where you're zooming in from. We'll get started here in about a couple minutes.
Hello, my name's Sam. I'm from Wolverhampton.
It's Johnny, Joby, Steph, Catherine, Matt, and Lee from the UK.
Hi, I'm Jay Lynch from Lubbock, Texas.
Okay. We get everybody? Feel free to introduce yourself. If you haven't said hello, just unmute yourself and let us know where you're zooming in from, and then you can mute yourself back.
Hey, this is Ansel from Seattle, checking in.
Great to see you, man.
Lamar from North Carolina.
Lamar, welcome.
Beverly, California. Hello, everybody.
Hey, Beverly.
Hello, this is John.
Who?
Hello, this is Johnson from Ghana.
Johnson, welcome.
Good evening, this is Clyde from Suriname.
I think Ghana just had their first, one of their first, not say great to have you. Kind of cutting out there on us, Johnson. Anybody else want to say hello before we get started here?
It's Mary from West Virginia.
Hi, Mary. You're next, Nancy.
Nancy Rollins from Clean, Texas.
Clean, Texas. Welcome, Nancy. Great to have you online.
Thanks.
Hey, Tom, this is Eric from Oklahoma.
I was going to say, I just saw Eric from Oklahoma. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Very good, folks. We'll go ahead and get started here. Got an exciting training for you. Let me mute everybody out and just do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. All right. One participant share at a time. That looks good. And let's turn on my camera. There we go. Awesome. Hey, welcome, everyone. Great to have you online. If this is your first time, sit back, relax. We do this like 12 times a week, so we're pretty experienced at it. Nobody's ever gotten hurt. We just ask that, and nobody's ever gone viral because we ask you to keep your clothes on. That would be really great. These videos tend to get a lot more views if somebody gets naked, but we don't necessarily need that. We want views for the right reason about digital currency, not to be famous. So, and I'm a good editor, so don't even think about it. I can edit it out. But excited to have you on board today. My name's Tom McMurrin. I'll be your host, and we've got a great group from all over the world on. I saw definitely South Africa. I'm seeing Suriname. I'm seeing Ghana. I'm seeing the great country of Texas, India, West Virginia, and just California, soon to be its own country as well, I understand. And let's see, who else? Man, everybody. South Carolina, North Carolina, Battle of the Carolinas. Great to have you all online. Excellent. So let's talk about cryptocurrency today. And I got I showed this to Ed Ludbrook, and you know, he's like, "You feeling okay, man?" You know, so I may have gotten too much sleep this weekend or this week. I don't know what day it is, but I don't know. I mentally explain things because I'm trying to paint a picture in your mind what cryptocurrency is and the significance of what we're doing. And often I'll compare it to the you know, the ecosystem, to nature. And hopefully this training will help you. It kind of expand your mind as to the magnitude of what Dr. Rusha is doing, and understand the moving pieces, the really important parts of cryptocurrency and what makes it work, and the reason behind everything she's doing, I think, is even more important. There are a lot of people that have never built a billion-dollar company faster than anybody in the world that are sometimes quick to criticize her. you know, and I get that. But, you know, I always say, you know, when you maybe built a company faster than anybody in the history of the world, then maybe pull out your criticism. But even there, people at that level are giving each other kudos and constructive feedback is what I would call it. But we have so much to be thankful for, to be at the right place at the right time, you know, to be here. All I can tell you, man, is I prayed for an opportunity to come back like the internet again. The internet, the 90s, the go-go 90s were so much fun. Innovation was in the air. The economy was ripping. People were making money. It was just a really, really great time. And then, as you all know, we had a little bit of a crash, a little bit of a contraction, and then we went into a massive expansion over 5 years. And then we hit 2008, and austerity set in. The word austerity, oh my God, what a terrible word. But austerity for the last 8 years of people trying to recover, and incomes still haven't, in the United States, gotten back to their mean where they were pre-2008. People's retirements have just gotten shuttered. Even though the market has continued to go up, the wealth is just not there like it used to be because people are digging out of a hole. And, you know, the number one rule of digging holes is, if you're in one, quit digging. Okay, Jay was about to say it. He already knew the answer. But, you know, when you look at technology and you look what's going on in life, it's kind of like, you know, Tom, I'd rather use the semiconductor comes along and, you know, calling you say, well, I'd rather use transistors, dude. I'd rather use tubes. You know, I'm not up for semiconductors. That's just, yeah, you know, those things go too fast. You know, they could hurt somebody, you know, or something like that. But what if a technology came along that changed the way money worked? You know, what if a technology came along that actually created a currency that maybe appreciated in value like Apple stock did? That would be kind of cool. And the one thing I want to try and prevent is many of you becoming what are called Ronald Waynes. Does anybody know who Ronald Wayne is? I know Joby does. Ronald Wayne is the guy that sold his Apple stock back to Apple for like $1,500 or something ridiculous. I can't even remember. All I know is it's worth $20 billion today. He did not see the vision of Apple, and he sold his stock back to Apple, okay, for like $1,500. It was like, I know, it was a huge stake too. I can't remember the percentage, but he was a big shareholder, and he just didn't see the vision of it. And so what I want to prevent is from you all becoming what I call Ronald Waynes. And man, this guy's so famous, he's got a Wikipedia page dedicated to him because of what he did. So I don't want you to have a Wikipedia page dedicated to your lack of action or your lack of knowledge. So I want to make sure that you all see the significance of cryptocurrency and why you want to be a part of it, because currency is changing, folks. We have gone from checks to credit cards, and now we've moved from credit cards to mobile payments. And I think you all probably, if you're watching the news or paying half attention, you understand that the world is kind of in a financial crisis right now. There's mega debt around the world, and your money has lost so much buying power. I don't know how many of y'all feel like your insurance costs a lot more today than it did in 2008. And I'm not talking about Obamacare. I'm just talking in general. I'm talking about property and casualty rates. Auto insurance rates are unbelievable. I pay $7,000 a year for 4 cars and 4 drivers. Okay, it's insane. And all my cars are paid for, and they're decent cars, but they're not luxury, super nice cars. But you know, I just think that, you know, we look at what's going on in the economy and we say something's not right, something's not working. Okay, because I'm working twice as hard and I'm not making as much as I should. I'm not getting ahead. How many of y'all feel like you're getting ahead? Is there anybody here? Because I'd like to get your secret. Anybody getting ahead here? You know, some of you already got cryptocurrency already. Some of you are. But let's dive into the ecosystem of cryptocurrency. Okay, let's talk about let's compare it to the ecosystem, to an economy, and let's understand what you need to have to make this work. Okay. So let me go back to my screen and let me see what we got here. I got it over here. There we are. All right, so let's first think about what is required to make an economy work, okay? Well, you know, to make an ecosystem work, when you think about the, say, the Mississippi River, and I would believe this is the Mississippi, it sure looks a lot like it, but that's a beautiful picture. I love rivers, and you know, rivers, they flow downhill, right? And there's a lot of people, when you think about working for government-issued currency, a lot of you would think that barge that's in the middle, that if it turned around, it would be required twice as much energy and use a lot more gasoline to get back up the river than it is going down the river. If it would even be able to turn around and go back up the river, it probably could. But when we think of building a cryptocurrency, we kind of think of the river. And the river is what I would represent our community of people, okay? The size of that river would, you know, be relevant to how much currency we're going to create. The amount of the market capitalization, how big is our river going to get? How widespread? Is it going to be in one country? Is it going to be in 50 countries? How big is that river going to get? And as you all know, our OneLife community is at 2.9 million members, and it's growing by 150,000 people a month. So our river is growing, okay? And I can tell you what happens when a river starts growing. If water's coming from upstream and a river's growing, downstream it gets real dangerous, okay? And we're going to talk about the mechanisms that you have to put in place to control an economy or an ecosystem like a river. And, you know, one of those things, y'all see that that jetty right there? There's a jetty right here. See if I can get one of my cool little marking tools and I'll mark it up for you. But let's take a marker right here. But this right here is a jetty, what I'm putting in yellow. And jetties are designed to actually help manage the flow of water in a river. Chances are there's something on the other side of that jetty it's protecting. But when we think about the river, folks, that is our community. That's OneLife right there. Right now, and that's what we've been for 2 years, we've just been a river. I mean, we've been growing our river, we've been getting longer, we've been getting deeper, we've been getting wider, and, you know, we're spreading out all over the world. And, you know, what Dr. Rusha is doing is she's building a global reserve cryptocurrency. Has anybody heard her say she's building an investment scheme? Because I haven't heard that. Have any of you heard her say, put your money in 90 days, you can take your money out and get rich? I haven't heard her say that, okay? I have heard her say that I want to build a global reserve cryptocurrency where people can use this currency that they've acquired and reduce their expenses, where they can make their buying power go farther, take trips maybe they couldn't afford because their currency is increased in value. I think her idea of what she's building is different than what some people who join this company, they think, well, I'm just going to go mine some coins at 43 cents, and when they hit 25, I'm going to sell them and be rich. You and Dr. Rusha are not on the same page, okay? And let me tell you why. Because that's like getting off. Well, let me give you a visual. I think while we're here, we ought to just do a visual and think Titanic. Pictures, and let me just give you a quick visual. Let's see what we got here. That one would work right there. Okay, and I apologize if this is sensitive to anybody, but I'm just making a visual that you know, a lot of people were trying to successfully get off the Titanic. And they were trying to get into these rowboats right here. I think this is trying to find a big image that would actually illustrate what I'm talking about. But there's a lot of people that were trying to get off and get into, you know, rowboats and successfully off. And this represents what I would call fiat currency, government-issued currency. I'm going to find a good picture. I can't find one. There we go. That's about as good as I'm going to get right now. But you know, there's a lot of people that were trying to get off that thing, and you know, it's kind of like what Dr. Rusha is, okay, I got you successfully off the Titanic, your currency is going down, but now you want to get back on the Titanic. You want to sell out your cryptocurrency, and you want to get back on. And I don't think she understands that. And so, as we look at the ecosystem, folks, what we're trying to do is help you understand. We just want to expand this river and grow this river, and there's different stages that we're going to go through. So let's look at the next thing that you got to have to manage rivers. When you have a big river and it goes out of control, one thing that is good to have is what they call jetties. This is the end of a river right here, and you see these jetties that manage the water flow that are coming out of there. And so these are just control mechanisms that allow you to govern the flow of the river. Okay. Now, has Dr. Rusha put any mechanisms in our river that's helped govern the flow of our river? Has she created tokens where she can create promotions where if she wants the river to run faster, she can make it run faster? She wants the river to slow down, she can slow it down. If she wants to prevent money from going out, she can take down the exchange. If she wants people to focus on what we're doing and building this river or this economy, she could limit the amount of cryptocurrency that can be sold. Now, there's a term that you all need to write down, and it's called turnover. Turnover is the amount of currency that's being bought and sold on a daily basis. Now, when you think about like Bitcoin has about $300 million a day in turnover, and that means there's about $300 million a day being bought and sold. Lately, it's been more than that. But when you think about having to regulate a river, has anybody ever seen pictures of the Mississippi River or the Ganges River or the Amazon River out of control and how dangerous it is? Towns can get wiped out. Lately, we've seen the Oroville Dam issue in California, where the Oroville spillway has gotten damaged, and it could literally flood all of Southern California if that thing took off. But, when we think about jetties are one thing that help us regulate a river. What would be another thing that would help us regulate the river? We could talk about a dam. How about that? Okay, let me reduce the size here. All right. So we could put a dam to regulate the river as well. So if the river got too high, we could regulate the dam. So what does the dam represent within an ecosystem of a cryptocurrency? It represents the exchange of buying and selling coins. Okay. So when you think about a dam plays a very important role in managing a community or a river, in that you can take some pressure off of it. You can make it go back up. You could regulate it. But a dam is very much like an exchange when you think about an ecosystem. So we're building this massive river. There is a dam in place where we can buy and sell coins. It has been up. It was up for the first year where we could do it in our back office. Then they created a separate exchange, put it up for about 90 days to monitor how people used it. They took it down. They collected some data. Now they're working on version 2.0 of it. They're going to put it back up. And the idea, another thing you all have heard about is OneForex. OneForex would be another tool that would be like a super dam that you would put in place, or an extra spillway where we could have, if our economy gets too hot and the price of our coin, starts shooting way up, she probably has mechanisms in there where she could keep it in a range where people are comfortable with it. We know one thing that Dr. Rusha has been very concerned about, and that is volatility of the coin. One thing that scares people away from digital currency is volatility. So when you think about the image of what she's trying to create, it's pretty amazing. So let's look at the fourth element of building an ecosystem and what you need to manage, say, a river, okay? And I don't know if any of y'all have taken on the object of managing a river, but I can only imagine those dam engineers at Oroville have got quite an issue on their hands. So let's look at the last component of a river, and probably not the last one, but the only one we're going to talk about today, and that would be the tributaries. Okay, so here's a river that has tributaries, and these tributaries, some would call them estuaries, but these tributaries are ways that when the river expands, the water can go up into them and expand the volume of the river without the river overflowing. And I like to say that the tributaries, they would represent what I would call the merchants, okay? So now we're starting to add tributaries to our river. If that gives you a good visual, you're able to walk up streams now and buy things. You're able to find little alleys and stuff of rivers, of tributaries, where you can actually, you know, understand how this river is going to be able to expand. Now, if we have a trillion, let's say 120 billion coins, and the 120 billion coins is right there, and then all of a sudden this starts turning into this, what happens to the number of coins that we need? We need to expand them tremendously, because the amount of river volume that could be in the tributaries could be equal to that than what's in the river. Okay, so to prevent a coin, not to prevent a coin, but to make sure that a coin doesn't get out of control where people are scared. I mean, people, the perception of Bitcoin, I tell my friends to buy Bitcoin right now, they're scared. They're like, dude, it's priced way too high. And I'm like, not compared to where it's going to be in 5 or 10 years. It just depends on your time frame that you're looking at this. And I think just as we're building an economy or we're building an ecosystem, folks, it takes time to develop it, okay? It takes time for these things to mature. You got to build the river first. And then once the river's built, you got to put the dams, the dikes, and the jetties in, okay? And once the dams, the dikes, and the jetties are in, then you can start kind of regulating the dam, letting it fill up, letting the price of the coin come up, and then you can start introducing the merchants, and then you kind of you close up the dam a little bit and let the water fill up into all of the tributaries, and all of a sudden, you know, we've got a full-blown ecosystem. And I just generally, I don't think what Dr. Rusha is doing is something that the average person could really wrap their head around. I mean, the average person to say that, wow, she's building a massive ecosystem and we're a part of that ecosystem. And it's probably a little bit bigger undertaking than I think what most of you probably understand, but that's why I wanted to compare it to nature, because I like to say that Rusha is really creating almost a godlike business model, because number one, nobody's ever done it. It takes quite the ingenuity and quite the vision to do what she's doing. And I mean, I don't know how many of y'all would have thought about the tokens and the splits, and I don't know how many of y'all would have thought about all of the mechanisms that she's put in place to make this system work. The mobile app builder, you know, the deal shaker. What a brilliant stroke that was. We have close to 100,000 people registered in Deal Shaker now, and I think over 11,000 or 12,000 businesses now that you can actually go spend OneCoins on. And so those are the tributaries, folks. Those are the 12,000 tributaries that she's created where this ecosystem can start flowing. Do you all feel like it's starting to flow now? 2 years into the game, compared to what Bitcoin was, we are light years ahead of where Bitcoin was at 2 years. I mean, I have people compare us all the time. Oh yeah, y'all don't have any usability, or you know, y'all are still in that mining stage. They obviously weren't in Bitcoin at 2 years because that was still in the mining stage as well, you know, and there was no usability. And if you wanted to sell your coins, you had to send your money off to somewhere in Asia, your coins off somewhere in Asia, and be lucky if they sent your money back, okay? So it really wasn't going, trust me, there was no soft wallets to automatically download your money to your bank account back then either. There weren't any, it was all hard wallets. You kept it on your hard drive in the form of an encrypted serial number. So if you lost your codes, you were in bad shape. But I hope that kind of puts into an understanding, and I want you all to realize that in the last 27 months, 28 months, however long we've been in business, I think somewhere around 28 months, we've created something amazing. 2.9 million people, 150,000 people a month joining, 5 corporate offices in 5 different countries, 5 major events in excess of 3,000 to 5,000 people. One event had 11,500 people at it. You know, a customer service center managing 194 countries and 30 languages. You know, you looked at, you know, a new blockchain that was launched, a revamped One Academy with an amazing, very well thought out educational program. The company divided up into 3 divisions. Our new OneLife, community, the back office completely revamped. Let's see, what else did we do? Oh, at least 5 or 6 legal battles with major countries, a constant battle with the press and the media that has been ongoing really from the first 90 days of getting started in this business, and just all of the banking challenges and everything that this company's been through. And it became the fastest company in the world to do $1 billion in revenue. It became the largest sales organization in the world, and it became the highest paid sales organization in the world, with 6 of the top 10 earners in the world being affiliated with our company. And we are building something amazing. Oh, and launched Deal Shaker platform and created mobile app builder. And you want a cherry on top of that? And she had a baby at the same time in that same time period. Okay? So I don't know about you, but I mean, Katie, I know you got a busy schedule there alone with that child and your job and all that. Could you imagine doing all of that on top of having a child and managing a child? Could you imagine?
It would be difficult, but I could imagine. I look at it like the Medusa with the 8 arms, where it's like an octopus, and you're like doing this and that. Because it's kind of how it feels with me right now. I'm pulled in 20 million directions, but it's exciting. I'm planning to open.
Traveling when you're pregnant. Oof. I know my wife. Yeah. Hey, tell me what are your thoughts? Have you seen that training yet?
I have. Honestly, everything so far, it's starting to really click. It was those moments where we were a little unsure what was going on, but I just, follow one course, still successful, and I'm super excited. I'm doing your training now, where I'm learning to build internationally and starting to really open my mindset bigger to just the United States, where kind of before this all happened, I kind of was just like, let's just build it home. And now I'm like, there's a bigger world out there. And there's a lot of people.
There are markets where they're hungry for this, survival and getting into the banking industry is at the top of their list, and having organized financial services. What are your thoughts on the ecosystem? How did that picture paint out in your mind? Does that all make sense to you?
It made a lot of sense to me. You explained it really well. How she puts the stop on certain things, and it's all for the benefit of making sure things don't rage out of control. And then how you included it with the merchants, and now the river is starting to have streams. And I got to look at Deal Shaker, and wow, it's just super exciting. I mean, just a year ago, I was just introduced to this this concept and this company and the entire cryptocurrency space, and I am so glad that I just dove straight in, and I haven't looked back since, and I don't ever plan to. I mean, it's created a life of freedom for me, Tom. I've dreamt bigger than I've ever dreamt before. Like, I'm opening a preschool this spring so that I can actually stay at home and teach my daughter instead of paying for preschool like most parents do. And I can also, offer it as like a business. And because of cryptocurrency and because of being, so open-minded to learning about finance and how the world's working globally, and just everything that I learned from being around you and everybody else, I'm dreaming big, and things are happening, and I'm getting into real estate investment, and just it's an incredible time in my life, and it's a little crazy, but I'm so grateful for OneCoin and for Dr. Ruja. And I mean, when she had her little girl, I was just like, yes, welcome to mommypreneurhood. Now she's even more incredible in my book. She was incredible beforehand, but being a mom, it definitely makes a change in you that it really makes you push harder for your legacy. So I know if she's anything like me, she's pushing for all of us, for our legacy, for our children and our grandchildren, children. So I'm just excited, Tom. It's just pure excitement and happiness, and I'm in a peaceful place in my life where things make sense, and I'm going up the up escalator instead of trying to run up the down escalator. So.
No kidding. And that's a great, we may go to that chart next and talk about that, because I think it's important what you said. I mean, you're allowing your lifestyle to determine your work style. You're working on being a stay-at-home mom, and cryptocurrency is creating wealth for you. You know, you see even sometimes while you sleep, which we love, we wake up to a coin increase in our price, and we see we have more wealth that we can spend. So if my coins go up, say $1, you know, tomorrow, I have a $500,000 more that I can spend on Deal Shaker. So I have a $500,000 more buying power than I did the day before. And I got to tell you what, when you start seeing those coin increases start happening, it's like, man, that's really exciting to wake up with 5, 10, 15,000. You're like going to bed, maybe I shouldn't buy that. Next day you walk up and you got 10,000 more and you go, maybe I should buy it. You know, it's like, buy stuff out of appreciating. Buy stuff out of appreciating assets than it is to buy stuff out of money that's losing value, right?
Oh, absolutely. And just the opportunity for the future. I mean, the blockchain technology in itself is going to change so much with, you know, public record and just everything in that nature, and how it's going to impact the medical field. And, you know, I'm in the medical field as far as my background, and, you know, I mean, it's just exciting to see all of it and the buying power increasing. And I say we make money in our sleep, because we make our money work for us, and that's the way to, you know, be rich and wealthy and true freedom. And this company gives us time freedom too. I love that my lifestyle is, I'm living the life I always dreamed I would. So I get to stay at home with my child. I get to literally watch her first steps, and everything that she does is something I get to witness instead of a daycare person or, you know, family member, somebody else is care of my child. I actually do that, and I get to help other people at the same time, even with my daycare families, because I have a daycare that's partially part of my preschool. They're kind of one entity but separated, and I'm educating them about what we do here, because I don't feel any parent should have to leave their child if they don't want to. So that's incredible. And to tell them, you know, there's an appreciating asset that you can have that someday in the future, who knows, like, you know, we'll be able to buy houses. And like I've heard, you know, Mercedes-Benz is looking into the cryptocurrency space, so we could buy cars. Like, awesome. We don't need the government currency. Like, I'm so with you, Tom. I feel like we should just annihilate it all together, and we could just start over where, you know, it's a new, fresh ecosystem, and we can have an appreciating asset that increases in value, and, you know, everybody can just be one whole kind of world and family, and maybe it'll increase some of the wars and all the laziness that goes on. That's my hope for it. I know Dr. Ruja has big plans to really create incredible peace and, you know, world unity. So
well, that's it. I think that's important. What you just said is we have a currency, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us. That's a woman coming from the medical industry, a stay-at-home mom with a baby, talking like a financier and somebody that's getting into multiple businesses and creating a great future because of what she's learned in digital currency and with the mentors that she has around us. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate you. Let's do this, and I need to, might get viral here. But let me talk to Steve real quick, and up in England. Steven, how are you?
Hey, good, man. How are you, Tom?
I'm awesome. So tell me a little bit about, I know you've been to some of the big events. You went to the big one in Wembley. That was pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, being around 3,000 or 4,000 people all in the same mindset, and you know, just seeing things unravel as Ruja announced them. That was just incredible.
That 38-minute speech, she gave on stage was pretty awesome. I can't tell you how many times I watched that to really understand, you know, the vision of what she's doing. And I think I downloaded a chart today. Let's see if I can find it real quick. But we'll put it up and kind of discuss her master plan, if you will. If I can find it, but I can just Google it faster. Hold on one second. But tell us a little bit about your background, what's got you excited about digital currency, and what do you think about the ecosystem training that I just did? Does that make sense to you? Is that?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Really easy to follow. You know, you don't have to be. I mean, I think it paints a clear picture in everyone's mind exactly what she's putting in place. Especially with all the tributaries, you know, the small rivers coming off. Deal Shaker, the mobile app builder. And there's a lot more to come, you know. So as those get bigger and bigger, those control mechanisms that you speak about become more and more important.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense to me.
And getting people used to them as well. I mean, a lot of people don't realize the importance of why they're there, but they're there to protect us and the long-term viability of what we're doing. And let's see, I found the chart.
I think a lot of people look at them negatively and think, oh, that she's trying to control what we're allowed to take out and et cetera, but it's quite the opposite, you know.
Let's look at this chart for a minute and talk about. Let me pull it up over here and see if I can. Hold on 1 second. Computer didn't like that. Let's see if we're gonna. I got a blue spinning wheel. That's never a good sign.
Good internet speeds.
Yeah, we'll let my computer settle down and see if it catches up to me here in a minute. But what would you recommend to people that are first getting started in cryptocurrency? What would be some of the recommendations that you would have?
I'd say keep an open mind and watch as many videos as you can. I think plugging into these webinars have been amazing, and that's where I've gained most of my knowledge. There's so much out there, and you know, find somebody that you resonate to, and you know, there's lots of different explanations. And for me, I found Tom's explanations the clearest. I like the fact that he talks about the whole industry, not just OneCoin, because there are many different cryptocurrencies out there, and there's going to be many different mining opportunities for all of us.
Right.
So getting educated about mining and how to go about it can be one of the most important things we all do.
You bring up an interesting point about mining. One educational thing we can talk about here is the 3 different ways to get cryptocurrency. And we know in the old days, I know you've got some technical background because you come from the telecom business, but even with that, were you interested in putting servers in your house and networking servers in your house and changing out video cards and downloading scripts and trying to mine cryptocurrency? Was that at the top of your list?
I wouldn't have a clue how to do that.
maybe drinking a cold beer might have been a little bit higher on the list than that one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
So you know, the early days of Bitcoin, you know, people had to keep their coins on their actual laptops, and you hear of all sorts of stories where people have lost their laptops. I think you had an experience similar where you had to pull your laptop out of storage, and you know, so a good chunk of all the coins that are actually in circulation have been lost forever. They are sitting on some dump or I don't know, gone through the grinder or something, and they'll never be recovered. So,
yeah,
you know, what Rouge has done to make this easy for the everyday average person is just it's incredible, really. So
when an exchange in Bitcoin gets hacked and the hackers steal the coins, what's the recourse for the people who had coins with that exchange?
They're in trouble.
They're in trouble. There's no recourse is the answer.
Exactly.
I was sitting next to some insurance adjusters at a bar, and I heard him say the word Bitcoin, and so I broke. Of course, that was my opening introduction to talk to him about that. I said, "Yeah, I'm an Amazon best-selling author on the topic," and she goes, "Really?" She goes, "You could help us," and I'm like, "What is it?" She goes, "Well, we're doing an insurance claim, and this employee found the boss's passwords to his Bitcoin account, and she logged into his account and transferred the coins out of his account." And she goes, "We can't prove she did it, but we're assuming she did. But we can see the coins. We know where they are. We can see them on the blockchain, but we can't get to them." And I said, "Yep, and that's the way it's going to stay, too. There's no way because it's all anonymous." However, with somebody like OneCoin, if your employee did that to you, and they could prove it, certainly by seeing who logged in and where they were transferred to, they could actually reverse the charge. So that's one of the advantages of being on a decentralized platform like OneCoin. If OneCoin were to get hacked, which, by the way, we did have a $100,000 hacking challenge that was up for 60 or 90 days. I can't remember the time period. But we were never hacked. and with all the smart people and all the Bitcoinists who hate us. And by the way, that was after being on stage at Wembley with a big sign that said Bitcoin Killer on it. You remember? Yeah. You think that might have sparked some tensions between the Bitcoin community and OneCoin? But
I think a few of the techies would have heard of that, and they would have been trying to hack that.
They might have been after that 100 grand for sure.
Yeah.
But so the other way to mine coins is through what we call token-based mining, where you can actually buy units of energy. Let's call it shared mining or computing space, where you buy mining power, and you can do that by buying mining power, at an existing server farm where you just plunk down money and they give you a certain amount of gigahertz. Or like in the case of OneCoin, you can buy tokens, which is a representation of energy, mining energy, or buying an educational package and you get access to tokens, is a better description of it. But those tokens, when applied to the algorithm, actually create coins, and they come into your e-wallet. So that's a little bit easier, and that's the way you've been doing your first successful mining, isn't it? Buying the educational packages and mining tokens that way, mining coins?
Yeah, absolutely. And it says, I think you've used this analogy before, it's as easy as buying something on Amazon. If you can click and enter some numbers into a box and click enter, then you're more than qualified.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's
it's really easy. And
Amazon may be more complicated, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. And then the third way that you all will see people are mining coins is where they issue a cryptocurrency, and let's say they issue 1 billion coins and they pre-mine 100 million of them, and then they do what's called a crowd sale. You all will hear that term is very popular. It's a crowd sale where people can actually buy the coin in what's called an initial coin offering, an ICO, not an IPO, which is an initial public offering. But ICOs are becoming very popular because it's a way for the coin developer to raise some cash to build out their business model. And so we're seeing a lot of that in the United States, which is more palatable with the U.S. Legal registrations, are what they call these ICOs. So you all will hear about those popping up, and there's going to be lots of them. I suspect when Amazon, or if Amazon does a coin, or PayPal, or Procter & Gamble, or Virgin, if you hear of a major company doing an ICO, you might want to look into it. You might want to look into, and they may not allow you as an individual. It may just be for institutional investors. I know one of the recent ICOs I tried to get into, I had to be an institutional investor to participate in it, which was kind of a scam to me in a way. I wanted to participate and had the money. But, when you think about, those are the three ways of mining coins. What are, why typically do you want to mine coins, Steve? What's the opportunity?
Well, the opportunity at the moment is for us to, I think, to basically buy, let's say, a £10 note for as little as 50 cents. So if I came to you and said, how many £10 notes would you want to buy if they were 50 cents? And that's really what mining is.
How many you got?
Absolutely. It's an opportunity to get coins at wholesale value is what it is. Because as you putting up the electricity, the energy to mine these coins, the more you're willing to invest and put up front, the company's willing to give you a discounted value on your coins. So,
and that's because it's an early
risk value basically.
Yeah, and it's because it's an early adopter opportunity. I mean, you're in at the beginning. I know some of y'all have invested in companies early stage, like your uncle came to you and had a company he wanted to invest in. Did you get a better price on his stock than maybe your relatives did that he approached later on? Yeah, you bet you did.
Yep.
And so I think it's important for y'all to understand that early mining opportunities are only early stage. So like in the next probably 12 to 18 months, the mining opportunities with OneCoin won't be over, but the lion's share of the movement and the coins that will be accumulated, you should be moving at a very fast pace every day to get as many coins as you can at as cheap a rate as you can. And we've got a couple promotions going on right now. And I'll jump down to Leo Shea because I know he's in, nope, you can't. I forgot it's late night there. Can't do that. Well, let me see. Who am I going to talk to about promotion? Steve, thanks for sharing your experience. And
No problem.
I can tell you've been doing your homework. That's awesome, dude. So, yeah, I think one thing is I tell people when you start looking at cryptocurrency, what Steve and I were just talking about, the most important thing you need to learn over the next 3 to 5 years, or next year really, dedicate yourself to learning about mining and keep your ears open for opportunities. And by the way, you're looking for a company that can create a river, okay? Can PayPal create a river? 180 million users? You bet they can. Can Amazon create a river? You bet they can. Can Procter & Gamble, Virgin Airlines? You bet they can. Can Mike Tyson, the boxer, create a river? Probably not, okay? Even though he did try and create a crypto coin. Can Donald Trump create a river? I don't know. I mean, when you're president of the United States, I think you got too much on your plate, but the Trump coin was created. I don't know if they created it, but there was a coin created. But I would say probably not. Can Dubai create a coin? Can they create a river? Man, they can create islands, dude. They can create a river. They can create islands and tall skyscrapers. We know that Dubai can create a river. But, you just think of all the people. Can the United States Post Office create a river if they come out with Fed coin and they issue it through the U.S. Post Office? Do you think that's a currency that probably will be widely used? Probably. Okay. So we think about that. Let me jump over to Jeff up there in Colorado. Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Tom. How you doing, man?
I'm awesome. What are your? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the ecosystem and just any other general thoughts you have about cryptocurrency.
Oh, it was brilliant. I love seeing the whole river and the tributaries. It really, really brings it in because you must have an ecosystem. You must have people out there that are using the coin and want to use the coin and put it out there and exchange it as value. If it's not exchanged as value, it's just something on a piece of paper. The cryptocurrency space in general, I must say that especially over the last few weeks, has just become so much more. This is such a rich space, and we're just at the beginning of it. And there are the OneLife and the OneCoin is a tremendous opportunity that's going on out there. There are other opportunities that are starting up that are going on, and plugging into this webinar is a great basis to learn about cryptocurrency in general, what mining means, and then you can take that knowledge and apply it to a lot of things that are going on out there in the world. It is digital currency in general is huge. It's going to be so huge, and I think the key is getting the knowledge to understand that there are companies out there like OneLife and OneCoin that are creating an ecosystem, a usability of the coin, and if you get that knowledge, you can then take it and decide what you're going to do with it from there. Decide what coin you might want to do, or what you're not going to do. So I'm just excited. I had trouble sleeping last night after a call we had here in the United States, and there's just a lot of growth to be done because we look at how old Bitcoin is, and Bitcoin just now is getting stable to a degree, and it's what, 8 years old, maybe something like that. So the stability of what OneCoin has already done is amazing, and where it's going to go is through the roof. There's just no stopping it. And if Bitcoin can get where it has in 8 years with all the mistakes that it's done, and not having KYC and not having some of these things in place, imagine what these coins can do, what OneCoin can do going forward with an already usable ecosystem, with already companies on board that are using it, with already the documentation, the KYC in place, which everybody wants. All the banking systems now are saying we must have KYC in place. So it's exciting. I just don't know what to say. The whole space in general, digital currency, is extremely exciting.
You bring up a point that I think we ought to talk about when you mentioned KYC, know your customer, and Katie kind of chimed on the first part of that conversation. Obviously, with Bitcoin, there's room for people to do anonymous transactions and use Bitcoin for the wrong reasons. Would you do that same thing if you were doing an illegal business? Do you think you would do that on the OneCoin platform?
No. If you're an illegal business and you're wanting to do some shady things or something that you don't want to be traced, OneCoin is not for you. Bottom line, it is not going to be for anybody that is looking to do things that aren't right, because we do have to put in our KYC. We have to put in documentation, just like any bank account that you'd open up, they'd want to see your ID and your billing address and things of that nature. And that's what OneCoin did. So OneCoin will not be for the bad people of the world, I should say. It's not. So if that's what you're looking for, don't do OneCoin, Continue with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is anonymous, and Bitcoin is running the roadblocks with it. There are issues with it. And me personally, it makes me wonder how, Bitcoin will be a global cryptocurrency without those KYC in place. I don't see it becoming that. I love Bitcoin. I own some Bitcoin. I want to get more Bitcoin. But as far as usability across the globe that is going to be transferred amongst people and businesses without any hesitation, you can't do it unless you have KYC.
Yeah, that's a good point. And not as much if you're a bad person, don't come on this platform. But if you're a good person and you'd like to be affiliated with a currency that probably won't be used for bad things, and that just makes you feel good. I was sitting next to a Baptist minister's wife, and I just finished a presentation, and she kind of looked at me. She goes, "Now I've heard the stories. Is this going to be used for money laundering, drug dealing, and terrorism? This?" And I started laughing. I said, "Is the U.S. dollar?" And she goes, "You got a point there." She just it was pretty.
The most corrupt currency is probably the U.S. dollar, one of them. Because it's been around forever, and it's been used for anything and everything you can imagine.
Yeah, I'm like, don't touch those $100 bills. You might get some traces of cocaine on your fingers. You got to be careful of that too. It's that or the $20 bill. I can't remember which one it is. But but awesome, Jeff. Let's see. 3 steps to getting started with tell people about our simple 3-step system, if you would.
I think the first thing everybody should do is to go to aboutonelife.com. It's a website Tom put together. There's some videos in there. You can watch just the first couple of minutes of it. If that intrigues you, watch a little bit longer. There's another video that follows up about that. If that intrigues you, you get on this webinar 12 times a week. There's a webinar going on here. Go from About One Life, go to this webinar. It'll give you some more education. Once you go to this webinar, I think you should then reach out to the people that brought you to the webinar or that gave you the About One Life website. Get with them. Look at what educational package you want to do. Figure out what the best strategy is. And then simply repeat. Get anybody that you're interested in, have them go to One Life, have them come on to the webinar, have them get in touch. So it's all about rinse and repeat, doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. Don't be the expert. Point the information to somebody else and let them look at it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you chiming in.
Absolutely.
So let me just wrap it up here and talk about where you are right now. Okay. I just invited Pat to lunch, Pat Cooper, and we just sat down with Tim Berners-Lee, and Tim Berners-Lee just told Pat and I about a thing called TCPIP. And he explained to Pat and I, he said, what this technology does is it gives every computer an IP address, and we hook them up to phone lines, and computers can actually transfer packets of data back and forth with each other. So I can actually send a packet of data that has a message in it called, "Hi, Pat, this is Tom. Great to chat with you." So I could actually send him, well, let's call that an email, Pat. I think that's a good name for it. We'll call it an email because it's like mail, but we're doing it electronically. Can you imagine who came up with the name email? What are we going to call it? Well, it's electronic. It's mail. Let's call it email. But that was probably one of the easier terms to come up with in the internet. Don't you agree? But, and so as Pat and I are talking to Tim Berners-Lee, and he says, yeah, because there's going to be some exciting stuff come out of this. I think they're probably going to create what are called browsers, where people that don't know what they're doing will be able to navigate the internet. And once the browsers come about, Pat, then we're going to start getting into these email appliances where people can actually start sending emails to each other without using the post office. I don't think the post office is going to like that very much. In fact, they may try and fight it and try and shut down the internet. As a matter of fact, they might shut down the internet. Yeah, you've probably heard that story before. Okay, and then Pat, after we do email, there's going to be a thing called HTML and hypertext markup language. And what's going to happen is these really smart kids that figure out this coding language, they're going to be able to create websites so you can put your business online, okay? So now let's fast forward to 2009, and Mary and I are sitting down with a guy named Satoshi Nakamoto. And Satoshi says, hey, Mary, you know, we've got this really cool technology. I know Tom and I wanted me to meet you and tell you about what it is. But it's this big accounting spreadsheet software that connects millions of computers and allows people to do transactions without using a bank. Now, I don't think the banks are going to like it, Mary. In fact, I think they're going to fight it, and I think they're probably going to try and shut it down, but they won't be able to because they'd have to shut down the entire internet if they were going to do that. And Mary, what's going to happen is this technology I've created, it's going to allow people to do bankless transactions. And they're going to be able to send value to each other without using a bank. But then also escrow agents you're going to be able to do escrow agreements. And there's this new thing we're going to introduce, Mary, called smart contracts and decentralized autonomous organizations like independent, self-running, self-executing contracts on the internet where if you need to get a car and you are a rider and you need a ride somewhere, instead of going through Uber, you'll access your app and you will tap into a self-executing contract which will locate my car, which is closest to you, tell me where to pick you up and tell me where to drop you off. And that self-executing contract, without using Uber, will allow you and I to connect, me give you a ride, and you pay me all in milliseconds. Does that sound like a pretty cool idea? Or maybe if you're a musical artist, this new technology will allow you, Leo Shea, to publish your best songs on the internet. And you can create smart contracts with these songs that if Jay wants to buy an individual usage of it, he can buy an individual play of it. If Deanna wants to buy a commercial version of it so she can air it on her radio station, she can buy a commercial version of it. If Steve over there wants to buy it to use it for a commercial, an advertisement, he can buy a commercial version of it. And they will interact with you, Lee, with smart contracts, self-executing contracts, and you'll just get notices that you're getting paid without you having to list your songs with iTunes. Okay, so folks, iTunes is going to get disrupted because of this technology. You have no idea. Airbnb, iTunes, all the travel agencies, these self-executing contracts and these decentralized autonomous organizations, I mean, I know I'm talking way out in the future for y'all, but I want you to understand you are a part of something bigger than digital currency. You are a part of the future of finance. You are getting trained. Guys, gals, digital currency is your training wheels. Okay? This is just the beginning. And there will be instances where you will have medical currency, you'll have cryptocurrency for medical expenses. You'll have currency from Procter & Gamble where you can buy Procter & Gamble goods at a discount and Amazon will deliver them to your house. Now wait, you won't have to do that. Your smart refrigerator will do it because your smart refrigerator will have cryptocurrency built into it, Procter & Gamble cryptocurrency built into it. And when your Tide detergent gets half low, maybe your refrigerator won't detect it, your wash machine will, you know. But it'll all be set up. Let's say your gallon of milk gets half empty. The little tag behind the label that you won't see will tell your refrigerator that your gallon of milk is half empty. Or the cheese, oh my God, the cheese is out of date and got that green stuff growing on it. That will never happen again because your refrigerator will have automatically ordered you a block of cheese. And when that block of cheese shows up, Joby might go, my cheese must be bad. Anyway. Sorry, Joby. I had to do my best Joby Bowie and stuff. What's going on, Joby? How many times have you had bad cheese? No, I've got quite a few. We can't hear you very well, but who you got in the room there with you? Who's the guy with the big guns, the big muscles there? He looks like he's going to...
This is our new Crown Diamond, Matt.
That's your new Crown Diamond. That's right. I love it. I'm definitely not going to try and take away his promotion. Boy, he's been turning some wrenches, hasn't he? So.
Big boy, and he's a warrior as well. So.
Very cool, man. Well, it's awesome having you on board. Love seeing your meeting grow and got some new people there, and you just keep having the. By the way, this is a great way to do it. What Joby's doing, folks, have these little home parties, invite people over, and say, come join the conversation and have some coffee or beer or something. I think you'd probably get more people over if you start offering beer, Joby. Just so you know, I want to just give you a little tip. Oh, I'm sorry, the beer coming up afterwards. My bad. So.
Wow,
yeah. I hear you, man. Well, it's great having you online, Joby. Anything you want to add? Anything you got to add to the ecosystem in the river? That was the first time you've seen that, huh?
I've seen you do that a couple of times to see them running, and with the actual pictures, amazing. I've heard that a few times, and it's one of the best explanations. How you actually come up with that is you're like a wordsmith, Tom. And
well, I don't live in Colorado, so you know I'm not smoking weed or anything like that. But
you know, it's absolutely phenomenal. And for the new guys who are coming on, just to hear that explanation of what cryptocurrency is, how the ecosystem works, is simplified so good. It's just you can't start your business better off than listening to that.
So by a show of hands on the couch, is that pretty cool? Is that you like digital currency? Sounds kind of fun. Yeah. There we go. Super. Well, I got to tell you what, we're running over here. We're exactly at an hour. It's great seeing you all. Thanks for joining us for your cryptocurrency party there. And folks, get back with the person who invited you. I would tell you to plan on spending, I don't know, 2 to 5 hours watching videos and getting your head wrapped around this. Honestly, you will need, could you imagine learning everything you need to know about the internet in 30 days and being able to go back to 1991 and doing it all over again? If I could implant the information in your head, Colin, and say, this is where the internet's going, and put you back in 1991, you would like be the next Mark Andreessen or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. You'd be on fire with what we're doing, folks. Guess what? The internet is repeating itself. The internet is repeating itself, and we are at the very beginning. And all we have to do is understand what it means to take the intermediary out of the transaction. That's all we have to understand. We have to understand why this software will take, and you know how you learn that? You learn it by doing digital currency. You learn it by doing some transactions, and you go, uh-oh, that's disruptive. That's going to be a big deal. Okay? So great, folks. I loved having you on board. Thanks for bearing with me on that training, and I'm just excited to be here with you and be able to provide the education. We'll be back here Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, which is 3:30 London, UK, 9 p.m. India, and 10 p.m. Dubai, 10 p.m. on, I think, 4 p.m. No, it's really late there, I think. But anyway, we're back here Saturday and Sunday, 4 p.m. as well, which is really great for the people in Europe. So it's Saturday night, have some friends over at the house, and pretend for a minute that you sat with Tim Berners-Lee tonight, and he told you about the internet. How excited would you all be? I mean, now that you understand, it's kind of like, wow, I just met with Tim Berners-Lee. Well, I just told you about blockchain-based technology. I'm not Tim Berners-Lee. I'm not Satoshi Nakamoto, but I helped you understand it to where you're like, wow, we may be at the very beginning of something incredible. And get that excited. It's like, I just discovered the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Have that kind of excitement level, because it is, folks. And you will remember this webinar, and you'll go, yeah, 5 years ago I was on a webinar and I heard this crazy guy from Palmetto, Georgia talk about how big this is going to be, and I just put it off, I ignored it. I didn't watch any videos. I want you in 5 years, Jim, I want you to be able to tell some warrior stories, okay? There's a difference between war stories and warrior stories. War stories means you missed it. You know, you didn't really understand it. You didn't get it. I missed the battle, okay? Warrior stories means you picked up a sword and you started swinging. And I want to hear your warrior stories 5 years from now. And that's why I'm here passionately for y'all 12 times a week to let it sink into your mind where it clicks and all of a sudden you all get this. And, we've got to move you through that phase of fear and then we got to move you to believing. Then we got to move you to knowing. Y'all know the difference between believing you can ride a bike and knowing you can ride a bike? There's a big difference, okay? It's called scars on your chin, okay? The difference between believing and knowing you started making it real. It worked for you, and all of a sudden you can feel it and see it and touch it and understand it. And then ultimately, we want to move you into that conviction stage where it's like you're helping others create wealth, kind of like Joby Bowie, Leo Shea. These guys, I mean, there's lots of people. I could call on lots of people on here, but you all are making it. Beverly Washington, you all are at conviction stage because you've seen this, you've helped it work for others, okay? And that's when it gets fun. And that's when you become a minister or an evangelist or somebody who's fired up, about digital currency. And that's where I am right now. So I'll just shut up right there. I can go on forever. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you. And remember, we got a promotion going on. If you buy a package right now, you get an extra split. That's like doubling your coins. And then the other thing is on the next split, within 5 days of the next split, if you put your tokens in mining, they'll double your coins as well. So we basically got almost like a super split promotion going on right now, and that should get you all very, very excited with some of the new packages you're marketing, and some of the old packages that you bought will actually double. You didn't have a promotion maybe when you bought them. You do now, because when you turn those coins in 5 days within the next split, you double your coins. Get with the person who invited you to find out the details on that. Don't do anything without being clearly understanding what you're doing, because it's important, because it's irreversible once you do it. Just remember that. Okay, don't make mistakes. If in question, talk to somebody who knows what they're doing. So with that said, folks, have a great day. Thanks for being online. I'll put this recording up here after a little bit of editing. I'll put it up here a little bit later on tonight. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for being online with us.
Hello. Thank you, Tom. Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Tom. Woo-hoo. Thanks, Tom. Enjoy you today, Tom.
Lucille from Sherman, Texas. Woo-hoo.
Jumbo Tone.